Everyone knows Edison, everyone knows Bell. But the people who actually got there first, history erased them. The man who built a working telephone 20 years before Bell, the boy who invented television and was crushed for it, the doctor who found the cure for infection and was laughed into an asylum. 6 inventors the world forgot, starting with a penniless immigrant and a dying wife. Antonio Meucci arrived in New York in 1850, a Florentine stage engineer with a workshop on Staten Island. When his wife Esther became bedridden, he built something extraordinary, a device that carried her voice from her bedroom to his workshop. He called it the teletrafono. The year was 1856, 20 years before Alexander Graham Bell. In 1871, he filed a caveat with the Patent Office, a legal placeholder, while he raised money for a full patent. But Meucci was destitute. When the renewal came due, just $10, he couldn't pay it. His working models were sent to a Western Union laboratory and lost, a laboratory where a young inventor named Alexander Graham Bell would later work. In 1876, Bell patented the telephone and became one of the most celebrated men in America. Meucci sued, and the case was gaining ground until he died in 1889, penniless. It took until 2002 for the United States Congress to formally acknowledge his work on the invention of the telephone. 113 years too late. In 1921, a 14-year-old farm boy in Idaho was plowing a potato field when he looked back at the straight parallel lines behind him and had an idea. What if you could capture an image the same way, line by line, using electrons? His name was Philo Farnsworth. 6 years later, at just 21, he transmitted the world's first fully electronic television image in a San Francisco loft. But the media giant RCA wanted television for itself. They sent an engineer to tour his lab, copied his designs, and dragged him through a decade of patent lawsuits, while telling the world that television was invented at RCA. Farnsworth eventually won in court. It barely mattered. The litigation broke his health and his spirit. In 1957, he appeared on a TV game show as Dr. X, where panelists tried to guess his secret. Not one of them recognized the man who had invented the machine they were sitting in front of. He won $80. When Apollo 11 landed on the moon in 1969, broadcast live on television, he turned to his wife and said, "This has made it all worthwhile." Vienna, 1847. In the city's great maternity hospital, new mothers were dying of childbed fever, but only in one wing. In the ward run by doctors, women died at triple the rate of the ward run by midwives. A young Hungarian physician named Ignaz Semmelweis found the difference. The doctors were coming straight from the autopsy room to the delivery room without washing their hands. Semmelweis ordered every doctor to scrub with chlorinated lime. Deaths collapsed from nearly 1 in 5 to almost none. He had just discovered antiseptic medicine. His reward? Ridicule. The medical establishment was insulted by the suggestion that a gentleman's hands could carry death. He was pushed out of the hospital, and his findings were dismissed for years. Increasingly desperate, in 1865, he was lured into an asylum, beaten by the guards, and died 2 weeks later of an infection. The very kind of death he had spent his life preventing. Today, doctors have a name for the reflexive rejection of new evidence, the Semmelweis reflex. And every washed hand in every hospital on Earth is his monument. Charles Goodyear was obsessed with a substance everyone else had given up on: rubber. In the 1830s, rubber was a novelty that melted into glue every summer and cracked to pieces every winter. Goodyear spent a decade trying to fix it, and it ruined him. He sold his furniture. He sold his children's school books. He was thrown into debtor's prison again and again, and kept experimenting inside his cell. Then, in 1839, came the accident. A lump of rubber mixed with sulfur touched a hot stove, and instead of melting, it hardened. Vulcanization, the process that makes every tire on Earth possible. It should have made him the richest man in America. Instead, pirates copied his process on 2 continents, and in England, a rival reverse-engineered his samples and beat him to the British patent. Goodyear died in 1860, $200,000 in debt. I am not disposed to complain, that I have planted and others have gathered the fruits. The Goodyear Tire Company, named in his honor decades later, never paid his family a cent. Josephine Cochrane was an Illinois socialite who threw famous dinner parties and was tired of her servants chipping her heirloom china. So she made a declaration: if nobody else is going to invent a dishwashing machine, I'll do it myself. Then her husband died, leaving her buried in debt, and the dinner party problem became a survival plan. In a shed behind her house, with the help of mechanic George Butters, she designed a machine that held dishes in a wire rack and blasted them with jets of hot soapy water. The first practical dishwasher, patented in 1886. She showed it at the 1893 Chicago World's Fair and won the highest award for mechanical construction. Hotels and restaurants lined up. Housewives ironically didn't. The machine was decades ahead of home plumbing and home budgets. Cochrane ran her company until the day she died in 1913. That company was eventually folded into KitchenAid. And every dishwasher humming in every kitchen tonight is a descendant of the machine from her shed. She was called the most beautiful woman in the world. By day, Hedy Lamarr starred in Hollywood blockbusters. By night, she worked at a drafting table in her home, inventing. In 1940, with the Second World War raging, she learned that German U-boats were sinking refugee ships and that Allied radio-guided torpedoes were being jammed. With composer George Antheil, she devised a solution: make the radio signal hop rapidly across frequencies in a pattern only the sender and receiver knew. Impossible to jam. They patented their secret communication system in 1942 and donated it to the United States Navy. The Navy shelved it and told her she'd be more useful selling war bonds with her face. Her patent expired, unused, worthless to her, but the idea, frequency hopping, became a foundation of modern wireless communication. It lives inside Bluetooth, inside Wi-Fi, inside GPS. Recognition came only in 1997, 3 years before her death. Her response in full: it's about time. 6 inventors: the telephone, television, antiseptic medicine, vulcanized rubber, the dishwasher, and the wireless world in your pocket. All of it built on the work of people who died broke, mocked, or simply unmentioned. History remembers the winners of patent wars, not always the inventors. But ideas are stubborn things. They outlive the corporations, the courtrooms, and the critics. And sometimes, a century later, they even outlive the forgetting. If these stories deserve to be retold, share them, subscribe, because the Obscura archives are full of people